Is Hot Toys stagnant or are we overlooking improvement? And this is kind of really, this is a topic actually I threw in there before Gore even was announced today. This was something that I put on the show docket just anyway, because I'm wondering, where a lot of us, at least I think, are a little bit captivated by what InArt has teased us, right? And then what, the statue companies have produced and things like that, really high end collectibles. And like Carlos was saying, maybe even some of the, custom stuff out there. And I have even gotten third party stuff that I've been super thrilled with. Like I've gotten some really good stuff. It's characters I love. So maybe I have a little bit of rose tinted glasses with those, but it's something to factor in. But there is still a lot of really good Hot Toys being made and a lot of really good Hot Toys figures that have been made and released. So I'm wondering, I'll start with you, Optical, again on this one. Are they stagnant or are we overlooking improvement? Because I'm wondering if maybe we're sometimes a little bit too hard on them because they are the top dog and we're holding them to a higher standard, or are they just kind of releasing stuff? And I don't know. I feel like maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Like they're backlogged and we're getting a lot of I think stuff that's, I don't know, feeling a little uninspired. That's kind of how I would describe it. But what would you say?
I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think they're stagnant. I think they've made some improvements, but I think you're expecting in-art improvement to them with Hot Toys prices. You got to set the expectations somewhat realistic here because they can't have rooted hair, beard, and all that stuff being the price that they're in. That's kind of like counterproductive for them because now they're kind of like you're giving them a Tesla kind of features for a Honda price.
Right.
And it's it's unfair if you look at it that way. Did they made some improvements over the years, like the USBs? It's kind of minute, honestly. Their steps, I guess, are kind of like slowly there. Like yes, they improved from 2010 to now, but the improvement from 2017 to now doesn't seem all that great of a leap. And then we get InArt, who, again, we haven't seen it. So we don't know if there's any problems with those magnet arms in your hands. We don't know. We don't know the drawback to this. We don't know, the stands. But looking at that, you're going to look at Hot Toys and be like, what have you done? Why are we using crotch grabber and all that stuff? But at the same time, they're almost half the price, right? Like, so we can't expect rooted hair for something that's kind of not in that category. Now you include this Vader, we've seen third party using, the lightsabers that are, the batteries are like the tiny ones that Toys era used that on their back in the day with a BVS spear. Why can't they use that? That battery is hard to find, by the way, but it's ridiculous because I do have that spear. Why they haven't they done that? Like so you beg to ask that question, and it's fair. It's fair to ask them why they haven't such an improvement, and maybe it's lack of competition, but. And it's still going to be a lack of competition. I think like with the InArt, they're getting pushed, but until the price gets, they can always have the price in their back pocket. It'll be like, hey, you know what? We're not doing this because you're only paying this much. But have they improved a little bit? Yes, not as much as we want them to. The thing is, we still buy them, and that's the consumer's problem. And that would be a continued problem because they do have the license. And as good as InArt is, the lack of license that they have would prohibit them to be a true competition to Hot Toys, right? Like, what are you going to do? Not buy Star Wars? That's one of your options. He's like, you know what? I'm just, and you could do that. You could do that. Be like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to stick with InArt at this point. Love their product. And you could do that. But there's a lot of people who's still going to buy Star Wars because it's still a hot commodity. Marvel is still there. So, it's tough. We're in a tough spot right now because we're expecting one thing from this company who's kind of hot, and we want Hot Toys to be like that. But would they be? Are they going to be inclined to be? I don't know. We'll see. But improvement wise, we've seen a little bit here and there, not to the degree that InArt is showing us. Though, again, granting that InArt is what they are, right? Like, right. I don't want to get quoted here. It was like, oh, you're crowning InArt right away. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, from the surface, it looks like they delivered what we always wanted. Like magnetic hands and all that. We're no more broken pegs. No more crotch grabber. Is there side effects to that? Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, a little bit. They have, and also I think we're a little bit unfair, just a little bit, just tiny unfair, because we can't compare them directly.
Right. Yeah, I get what you mean because they are in two different price brackets to a degree. So, yeah, and optical like, and one of the reasons I bring it up too is not just because of in-art, but like I mentioned, like with third-party companies, like I love the character, granted, right? But I have the Scorpion from Pop Toys, right? I've never owned a Pop Toys figure before. Dude, that thing is incredible. It has die-cast armor, die-cast weapons, like a great setup with the mask. Like it's just a really nice figure. And like Hot Toys, yeah, don't get me wrong, they've dropped some bangers. Hot Toys is the king for a reason. I have some incredible Hot Toys figures that just like are amazing. But I guess a lot of the stuff I'm seeing, and I talked to Carlos a little bit about this. I'm wondering if streaming has caused this problem because, and not just with Hot Toys, but just in general, there's an oversaturation of superhero content right now because the streaming services have created that. Like there's so many Star Wars and Marvel and other properties coming out, and Hot Toys is just trying to keep up and keep their head afloat, and they just have to keep pumping shit out. And it's hard to pump all that out and get the characters that people want and make them really high end. And like they're more focused, I guess, on mass production right now. And I get what you're saying, Optical, with in art. Like it's, yeah, we haven't seen anything yet in terms of in hand stuff. So it's really difficult to say. But I would say that right now, yeah, they're showing us stuff that gets us excited. And I'm excited about that. And Riley, I want to jump to you actually next before I get to Carlos. Riley, what do you think about this? I know as sort of a younger collector, I mean, I've not been doing this as long as Optical, obviously, but do you, even in the last, however many years you've been collecting, have you noticed like this kind of trend where they're stagnant, or are you seeing improvements? What do you think?
I feel like, yeah, we kind of do see that stagnant at times, like in the more recent times. I mean, especially the one thing that I really want to bring up is particularly with their releases. I feel like their recent figure releases that's been happening. I mean, I don't know about the armorized Deadpool, but like the sculpt wise, I feel like we've kind of been discussing, the details don't seem like as efficient. And I think that may have to deal with how many times, like, yeah, exactly. This is a perfect one right here. I mean, this is a lot, very controversial. And I feel like Black Widow was one that was definitely like two sides to it. But to me, I feel like the details aren't so much there as much anymore. But I think that kind of has to do with them sort of more like pumping out releases because they just need to get stuff out. And they're not maybe doing as what they were doing before, maybe delaying things super much to make sure it was really good. I mean, even when they delayed, the perfect example is Cable. I mean, that one was still, that was kind of up in the arms of what if it was really that good for being delayed for so long. So I feel like recently, maybe it has to do with the pandemic, or just like we talked about, they're just trying to get rid of like all these delayed figures, that they're kind of just rushing things right now. And it might be understandable. I mean, there's so many things that were on the backlog that now, if you go on Sideshow, I mean, stuff is going in stock very fast. Like they're really ramping up things. So that I think definitely has to do with it. I feel like we haven't seen like something majorly different in kind of some time. The main one that stands out to me is the Wolverine, and how you had that leather jacket. That was a really big one because a lot of people were like, wow, like, is Hot Toys going to like go super premium now? Or we're going to get really expensive items now, maybe more priced for a better quality, better items that we're getting. But recently we haven't seen much of that. I feel like you said in this topic, they've been a little stagnant in that department. Like this was a big one to a lot of people. I mean, a leather jacket, like that's, for Hot Toys, that's a massive improvement. And I think hopefully we see more of that. I do get it comes with higher price tags, but I think collectors are getting more so prepared for that high price tag nowadays. So at that point, if you're not like putting that extra level into it to get that improvement, then I think a lot of people are like, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. They want something maybe better. I mean, Vader, that's one that it would be really cool if they had leather, but it would probably be a lot more expensive. So I don't know how that would go. That would be pretty controversial, but like I said, I think they do get stagnant at times, but end of the day, they are producing amazing things. And I think there's more amazing things to come in the future for sure.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Carlos? How do you feel about this? I know one thing we can point out is the diorama bases. They have been pretty good with that lately.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, they have been improving on certain areas. I'm not going to say they haven't, but going to the, even to this Wolverine here or Toby or really anyone you want to pull up, you start looking at it and it's like, yes, they are improving. And if they're not willing to bring out the best details for, like, let's say a Gore, right? Because I understand maybe they're not going to sell. Why not try to do and bring out a better quality figure for something like a Darth Vader, right? Why not go on ahead and give that one specific leather? Because you can price that Darth Vader as you want it. people have been saying they're going to buy 2 or 3. The price really wasn't going to be a big deal for them. I mean, okay, let's give Gore the benefit, right? This one was priced really high, right? This Spider-Man here, the Toby one, and I feel like people are going to buy it because the sculpt looks good, the base looks good, the figure looks good overall. So it's one of those things that because of this specific character, they went and they priced it and they did a bunch of stuff to it. So why not keep doing that? I just don't feel like I see that consistently. Like, what makes Valkyrie worth having seamless arms but not Gore, right? It's not like people are lining up for a Valkyrie. It'd be like a Nebula all over again. Or what makes, you know what I mean? I understand that, but like for the higher ones, like, yeah, like why not give us a leather Darth Vader, right? I mean, you could have priced it really at $400. You really think people were gonna say no after they just spent $1,000 on 2 figures from InArt? Like, they were going to, you know what I mean? So it just feels like sometimes they're just not improving, or they choose like little things that just don't make sense. Like if they were to release a Winter Soldier, you know, from that original one, I guarantee, I'm almost positive that jacket is probably going to be pleather again. You know what I mean? So it's like, at what point do you really keep improving things? So personally, I don't see like they're improving a whole ton. They're just improving things here and there. But, you know, and again, NR hasn't released anything, but what we're hearing and seeing so far looks very promising. So at least they have that going for it. And obviously we'll just wait and see what happens until they actually release their figures.
Yeah. And it's exciting to see. But guys, let's move on to the next one here.